Hey everyone, I am Courtney Skinner. This is what we're calling Manitowoc Local Motion because we're trying to get the voices of the Manitowoc locals heard on information they have regarding the Stephen Avery and Brenda Dassey case. That's obviously going to bring justice for Teresa Halbach. I am with my um, friends and research buddies. I got Kim here, I got Sharon and Anna. So we already see that people are leaving comments on the chat. Can I just, do you guys, will you guys all say hi? Kim, say hi.
Hi, how y'all doing?
Hello.
Okay, cool. Anna's cooking dinner, so she might be on mute, but she's here with us. So
Hi.
we thought we'll start with where, so people can even understand what we're doing here, because obviously people are already saying they don't think this is a great idea. So anyway, for I think I don't know, Tom Sowinski came out with his information, or Kathleen Zellner tweeted about it, I know that, in April of last year, saying that Tom Sowinski had come forward, right? Is that accurate, you guys? The
Yes.
tweet said April of last year.
Mm-hmm.
So that came out, it kind of caused a bit of a frenzy, didn't it, in the research community, because it, of course, is gigantic news.
Yes, I think so.
Yes.
And his statement is, if you all remember, that, you know, he saw Bobby Dassey pushing a dark colored RAV4 down Avery Road towards the salvage yard. So coming from 147 to Avery Salvage Yard.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So I don't think, well, I know because I spoke to him today, but he hasn't really come forward. There's been a little information on it. We've all gotten, I think we've all read his statement, have we not?
I have.
Yes.
And it's pretty brief. And he said today too that it is very brief what he had stated. And there was more to it, but you know, whatever. So nobody's ever talked to him. And of course, when that story came out, you all know me, and I was like, wait a minute. I had questions, right? Because I always have questions. And one of them for me was, you know, like, and I said this in one of my last videos, I just, you know, why wasn't he wearing a shirt? It all seemed weird, but just because it was new information sounded weird. I don't know. I didn't know one way or another, but kind of tended, you know, from my own stuff, I thought, I don't know. Well, I have a really great woman out in the area that is just a lot of information for me, and I keep her very confidential. And she contacted me one day and said, I know you're a little skeptical about what Tom Sowinski is saying, so I think you should give him a listen because I think he's a good guy. And I was like, okay. And I really trust her. And of course, that's going to make me want to do it. So it's, you all know that I've been trying to get Tom Sowinski to contact me for quite a while, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know how long it's been, but you know, not like years or anything like that, but
few months.
At least a month or month and a half, somewhere in there.
right. So I got a hold of Tom, and I actually used my respected and trusted friend's name. She said I could, and he felt comfortable getting a hold of me. So he got a hold of me through a message, and he and I both agreed that we like to talk to people face to face. So I left it up to him if he could meet me. I told him I'd meet him anywhere. I just wanted to ask him some more questions about his affidavit and statement to Kathleen Zellner, because it is public. It's right. Is it not public what his statement is?
Well,
Yes.
there's videos, there's a phone call. About I think, yeah, couple of videos out there, a phone call, and there is some other
Right.
publications.
And when he got a hold of me, he immediately said that his stuff was out there public. You know, it wasn't, you know, so I asked him to meet me. We were going to meet last week, but we had some weird weather here, and I'm not sure where he's living. We meet at a kind of a we met in Green Bay today. So I don't know where he's at, but that's where I met him. So couldn't get in touch with him through these days, which kind of sucked. So I was a little bit bummed about that, but I thought that was all right. However, whatever's supposed to happen happens, right?
Right.
So he is able to get a hold of me. I got up this morning. He said, "Hey, I can meet you tomorrow." We both knew the weather was kind of bad, but I was like, I'm gonna make it. So met him in Green Bay. Totally cool guy. Excuse me, I have a bit of a cold, like a sinusy thing going on. So he met me at this restaurant, at this cafe, and we sat down and had a really nice conversation for a few hours. The very first question I asked him is if he was under a gag order and if it would be all right to talk. And he said he is not under a gag order, and he only knows what he knows. He only knows what he put in the affidavit. He doesn't have any other information. The story isn't going to change. He knows that. So he said that Kathleen Zellner's private investigator, Jim Kirby, I think he said his name was, when they met, Jim Kirby told him, hold on, Kim, I'm trying to get Kim Ducat in here, and we're having a problem. So let me see if I
Yeah,
can
she
get her.
said we can't hear her.
Oh, Kim, I can't. Oh, there you are. Cool.
Hey, hi, Kim.
Hi.
Hi, Kim. Kim, you can
Hey,
take it
Kim.
off camera if you want, or you can
Yes.
put your picture up, however you want to do it.
Okay, can you all hear me yet?
Yes.
Yes,
Can.
you're clear.
Glad
Okay,
you're
cool.
here. Hi, Kim Ducat. Holy shit, so good you're here.
Hi, guys.
You know a little about this, Kim, but I'm explaining the whole how I met with Tom Sowinski today.
Yeah, I've been listening.
Oh, cool. What I haven't explained to people yet is that I haven't talked to anybody in this chat about it or in this live. I kind of gave you guys a little bit of a rundown, but I told you all I want to talk with you all during this live so we can discuss it raw like that, because I'm going to end up repeating it anyway, and it's good to get your input, right? So it's like
Yes,
we're just
okay.
having the conversation. So he says that when the last time that he met with, or whenever he met with this Jim Kirby, he asked Jim Kirby if he needed to stay silent or he could talk, and he was told he does not need to stay silent. Yes, he can talk. So it's not my decision. It is up to Tom Sowinski, and this is approved by Tom Sowinski. And he was open to us recording it today. But once again, Courtney Skinner has recording problems. And he actually said he had a cop cam in his car, and he was willing to go out and get it to record it. But I said, let's just talk, let's just talk. I took some notes. So pretty exciting, huh?
I think so.
Yeah,
And it was-
absolutely. Well, let's get to
it, huh?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so
wanna know.
I wanted to be clear on that. I am not looking at the chat. Or I guess do you guys want to read these, or should we just someone said it's a lie.
Yeah, that's Mr. Kratz.
Mhm.
He thinks he knows everything. But anyway, go ahead.
But
would
who
just
is
go
this
ahead.
Kenny Price Kratz?
I don't know.
Okay, it doesn't matter is what I think I hear you all saying.
I think we have to just go on and let them form their own opinions
Okay, great.
about it.
I'm pretty sure that Mr. Tom Sowinski is watching this right now. He also said that at one point he wanted to make his own video to put out there
Cool.
because his whole entire life has changed now.
Yeah.
He is stunned by it. I think he told me he has 250,000 emails right now.
Wow.
So no big secret about Tom Sowinski. So he tells me that his health isn't so good right now. He's got a lot of stress because this has, been a huge thing in his life. And I really liked, it was good to connect with him because I feel like that is the common consensus of a lot of locals, right? That if you have any connection to this case, you get looked at differently, or people, people don't really want to talk about it, all of that. And he feels like he has been, absolutely, he's been followed. He feels that he isn't safe, but he's also saying he is no longer afraid, and he's not going to be afraid. He says, I'm simply telling the truth. I know this one thing that happened. He says, I don't follow he doesn't have a theory on anything. He doesn't research it like we do. He doesn't know. When he got a hold of me last week, he got a hold of me through Messenger, because that's how I tried to reach him. And then he got a hold of me, and he said he then spent a little time on Facebook and just put his name into the search engine, and he was just pissed off, about the things that were being said about him. And he, of course, was shocked that all this has come out of, so of course, what my questions are for him. First of all, I wanted to say I felt he was extremely credible. He absolutely believes that Kathleen Zellner is working for Stephen, and I'm going with it day to day, and that's really fucking great to hear. It sure is. And I'm not going to swear so much this time, remember. Like I said, he doesn't. I think he even said to me today, he doesn't think he watched Making a Murder. He doesn't think Steve's guilty, but he don't know. He's like, he deserves a fair trial, right? So it's actually interesting. So I asked him, please explain it exactly, because we know as locals, we go down. Well, we won't go down Avery Road anymore, but we go by Avery Road quite a bit. And the last time I went down there, I took a picture of Avery Road because it's at a steep incline. And one of my questions for Tom Sowinski was, he had said he had to pull off of Avery Road because Bobby was in the road. And my question, because now it's and Kim Ducat, maybe you know this. Now you when you go down there, Avery Road is like raised. If you'd have to go down it now, you kind of go down far, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's a steep, it's an incline,
But it wasn't back then, because
No,
it wasn't.
it was gravel road.
Right.
So
I asked him today. So let me tell you exactly what he told me, because it's so much cooler to hear as well as I can. He said he'd do a video with us, but he did say he not today, which was fine with me. And he does want to make sure this is all okay with Zellner, but he gave us the okay to do this. The man is saying, he's giving us the truth. So I'm listening. Okay. He's a paper route driver, right? He's, we talked a lot about that, because at one time we were trying to figure out the time, because I thought he was saying, maybe 5:30, 6 in the morning, whatever.
Right.
He's saying it was between 2 and 3, he thought, and it was that late. And like I say, remember Sandy Schindler was delivering newspapers at 2:30, she says, the night Ricky was
This is
hit.
PM, right? You're saying PM.
Nope, I'm saying AM.
AM.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
So it's dark out, and he's got 2 different routes. So what happens is some days he'll do the one route first, some days he'll do the other route first. So he said he'd sometimes he'd do his route, and then he'd go home for a few minutes, and then he'd go do his other route. And he was like, it was a good job. He was making good money doing it, and he did it for years, right? So he had been on the Avery. He had been delivering to them for years, right?
Right.
So as anybody knows, if anybody knows that has delivered papers, it's kind of you have the stack of papers with you. If you have inserts to put in, sometimes they want them in bags, whatever. So you're kind of doing a lot while you're driving. And he said he turned onto Avery Road, and he was kind of driving with his knees as he was stuffing the paper. And he did come down a little fast, and he saw Bobby and another guy, and they were pushing the RAV towards the salvage yard. Both the doors were open. Okay. He said he didn't in his head know it was Bobby Dassey, but he knew from just going to the salvage yard or whatever that the guy looked familiar. You know, he didn't think, he looked at him like, looks familiar. But he said Bobby looked pissed when he saw Tom, because his headlights were on him. So he's steering with his knees and he can see that Bobby's pissed. The guy on the other side ducked down into the window well so he could see his beard. He could see he was big, wearing a puffy coat, and he was dirty. Like he said, you could see but he couldn't see his face, but he could see his beard because he ducked behind the window well.
Right.
So he passes them and he has to, I think, go around a little, passes them, and then he has to go drop the paper. He only has to go to where the mailbox is, right? Not down by Stevens or Barb's. And he's already feeling weird about it because he saw the look on Bobby's face and he knew something wasn't right there. You know, it's that time. And even though it's a salvage yard, it's still the look on his face. So he knows he has to go back, which makes him feel a little stressed. So he decides he's going to go a little fast. So there's no option to stop, right? Because this is the part I think is missed in just reading the statement, right? That he's already feeling like something's really wrong, and that he knows he has to pull back up. He's going a little fast. I think he said 35, and he has to go around. And Bobby like jolts out to try to get in front of him, and he's looking real pissed. So Tom goes around the shoulder, and then he does this in the window, like, paper guy, gotta go. You know, like he didn't even look at Bobby. He just did this, like, because he knew that that Bobby was looking angry. And then he said each time he went by, he put on his brakes and he could see them. And he said in his brake lights, he could see those two standing there watching him, and they were pissed.
Wow.
So I don't know. That's about the story, right?
Right.
But it makes a little more sense knowing that there was a certain look on Bobby's face. And I asked him about, not having his shirt on. And he's like, I don't know, like, who would know?
Right.
Oh,
So
the
I don't
I
know.
wonder, did they just make that part up?
What's that? No, he said he was not wearing a shirt.
Oh,
And,
okay.
but
Yeah,
now listen, he said it was it Friday the 3rd, you guys? So it would have been
Yeah.
late evening, Friday the 3rd.
I think so, or was
2
it?
a.m. 2 a.m. So, literally Saturday, actually.
Oh,
Okay.
in the morning,
so
yeah.
the 4th, so
right?
it was 11:04 at 2 to 3 a.m.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
And, I know people on this chat were saying whatever my theory is. We're not talking about my theory right now. And this actually is okay and does work into my theory. But that's not what I'm saying today. I'm going to relay what this man is saying, right? And he
I just wouldn't even pay attention to the comments because
I'm
they're
really not. I'm really
ridiculous.
not. I'm
No,
sorry.
because
Ignore them.
people need to shut up on those comments.
Okay, should I turn off the chat? Because
Yeah,
Yeah.
No.
shut off that chat.
No,
because
no,
they're-
we'll leave it on. It's okay.
Okay.
Just don't let's
Courtney?
don't just don't comment on them.
We're talking here. Kim?
Courtney,
Yes.
you need to read what that Jonathan Dolman says. I mean, if you don't like what Courtney's saying, Jonathan,
Right?
then move along.
Thank you.
Mhm.
She did talk to Tom today. That's what
That's-
she said. If you were paying attention, you
Yeah,
would have heard
true.
Courtney
but
say that.
Okay. I guess we can go there with this chat, but
I didn't want to.
it's this again with the chat. I think we keep thinking we should do it because we always are like, hey, we want people's input. And right now, I'm not sure, there's so much going on within the research community and this and that. I don't really care because
Wait till
I
the-
just
how about
met
wait
with
till the
this
end?
guy that is absolutely being truthful about seeing Bobby Dassey push that RAV4 where down Avery Road, not to 147. It was going the other way. And when I asked him, I said, was it green? Was it blue? He said, I think dark blue. He goes, it was dark. Yeah, it could have been dark green, but it was dark. I thought dark blue, right? He's not trying to fucking make any kind of statement on it. So, but what I really liked about it was that he told me, I think he said he was in another state, doesn't matter, but he talked about how it's affecting him and his life and his health because of all the attention this has brought him. And of course, it's negative attention, but what people don't understand, and he gave me, you guys, I don't have it with me because it's a long story, but my notes, but he literally called within days of that happening with Bobby, he called Manitowoc Sheriff. He said he might have called Manitowoc Police and they rerouted him. He said one of them rerouted him. And when he gave the woman, when he said to her that he saw this, she said, okay. And as she was hanging up, he said to her, don't you want to take my number
Yeah.
and name?
Yep. That's in that phone call too.
Mm-hmm. You know, so it's on record.
Yeah.
He also he literally showed me that he's in contact with Kathleen Zellner. He's working with Kathleen Zellner. He's working for the truth. And I guess I would say he's working for Stephen and Brendan because he's putting out the truth, but I don't see any agenda, which is interesting and kind of cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, right? I mean, I guess it would have been different if I went to meet him and he was like, you know, he had some big, bold hatred towards
I
one
love you,
person, but it
Max.
doesn't seem that way. The one thing that came off for that was that he feels very much targeted. He doesn't, he wants to, he's strong. He says he's not scared anymore. His health has been affected because of the stress of it, but he's working on it and he knows he's going to be he's getting there. And he hasn't talked to anybody. Nobody's come to him, is what he said to me. He has not spoken to anyone. It doesn't mean he can't. It just means nobody's asked, I believe.
Right.
And maybe because we know he signed an affidavit. Don't ask me why. If he would have said he could not talk, we would not be making this video. He
Exactly.
said, make this video. So there's I believe, just like a lot of locals that come forward and then get accused of being liars, he wants to be vindicated because he's not lying and he doesn't have anything to hide. That's what he's trying to say. And he does feel very threatened by the law enforcement in Manitowoc, of course. Said he got pulled over recently and he wasn't, and they literally, I don't remember if he was speeding. I'm sorry, I can't remember this part, but he said they pulled him over and they said, hey, Tom, we know you're not from the area, but slow down. So they didn't give him a ticket or anything. They just wanted to let him know, hey, buddy.
We got your number.
Right. So what was really cool about also talking to him as a local, because, you know, I know that we all feel pretty afraid too. And it was just really neat because at the end he said to me, I feel so much better because I could talk about it. You know, because who's he supposed to talk to about it?
Yeah.
You know, it's not like, you know, of course, a few of his friends know about it, but it's not like it's just an open thing. But I wanted to tell you that he told me that he told, he's taking care of himself, of course, with his health and everything. And he told me about the night that this came out on the news. And apparently he was in a bar. And yep, it slipped my mind. If he does an interview with us, we'll get that detail if it matters.
Right.
But he said that he was standing in that bar and it was silent while that came out. Then I don't know if he later on maybe had a few drinks or something, but he ended up saying to them, that guy that was on there, that was me. And they were like, so, and also people are really against him because they think he's lying because they are so certain that Steven's guilty. So, it's fucked up. So
Yep.
I believe for myself, I know that for Anna and Kim, I think that one way that we can keep ourselves safe is to put our names and faces out there because, maybe someone will care. And I loved it that he's saying he's not afraid, even though we're all afraid. We can say all day we're not afraid, but we all know, and that's fine if people don't understand it. But how cool was it to have a face-to-face conversation with this guy?
Right.
And I told him, you have made me, like, every day it changes, doesn't it, for you? Aren't we all like every day going, okay, here's another piece? We're not saying we have every answer, but everything does fit.
Well, and if you stop and think about it, I don't care what group you're in, unless you're in a guilter group, and obviously, they don't have brain cell. But we're all pretty much, maybe we're in like different. I don't know what you would call it. We're all doing something completely different, and we're not doing anything
Right.
that some other group is not doing, but yet we get called liars. And we don't go around calling people liars. We just, we
Well,
continually say, stop trying to divide us.
right. And I'm trying to say the locals have systematically been silenced. And I know why locals don't want to come forward and it's a lot because of I think more the research community than anything, because it's so twisted and, they kind of throw out their story and then take off and don't really care.
I read something on either Facebook or Reddit a couple days ago, and it was a person. They said, I'm very new to this case of Stephen Avery and Brendan, and they said, but I truly don't understand how anyone that's truly looked at the pure evidence can take the guilty position, because there's too much out there to prove otherwise. This was a brand new person who hadn't really had years of experience with the case. They've already seen it.
Oh, yeah, it's evident. Even
It's
the
not
second episode.
it's not rocket science. It's not. I think the people that are it's my opinion, the people that argue that he's guilty are just pushing their own narrative. Do they believe it? No, I think they've just decided that's the one they're going to go with. And how can they prove that? It'd be hard pressed if
Yeah.
they had
Why
to
don't they
prove that.
Why don't all these people that are out there complaining and saying this and saying that, why don't they go to the guilters
Well,
and ask
listen,
them to
because
prove it?
everything's been so convoluted on both sides. I mean, the truthers don't even get along. So how can you blame the guilters? I mean, we locals feel more, well, I can't say more. We feel pretty darn threatened by the researchers. You know what I mean?
Right.
And a lot of researchers are out there under fake names. So it's easy for them to look into us and all of that, but we don't even know who's looking into us. But I think there's some law enforcement on that side. I
Oh,
really
me
do.
too. I do.
Mhm. Because they're coming down pretty hard on we silly little locals that don't have a voice, don't you think?
The closer you get,
Hmm.
it comes down harder, and that tells you that somebody knows something they don't want to be shown.
Yep.
In my opinion.
Okay. I just got distracted because I look on here and I can see that Kim Ducat's mic is muted, and I'm like, oh darn it. Hi Kim. And
No,
so
I'm
I'm
here.
trying to unmute it. And then it came across the screen. You can't unmute it because she doesn't want to be unmuted.
I was coughing and I didn't want
I'm-
everyone to hear.
It's okay. But I have to laugh because that simple thing made me lose what Sharon was saying.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Okay.
You can be muted. It was just, again, not me knowing how to do this very well. What I want to say is this. Now, well, I don't give a shit what anybody thinks, and I already made the deal with Tom Sowinski. He's with us,
Right.
and we got his back. And so do every local out there that we're working with that won't come forward. We all have each other's backs, And why should he be living in fear because he came out with this? Where is the support for this guy? Like, really?
And that's why nobody comes out with anything.
Yeah.
Because there is no support.
Well, because the community, the alleged truther community has literally investigated every local that's come forward. They think that me, Kim Ducat, and Corey Zipper, and apparently Anna are more suspicious than Bobby Dassey.
Oh,
Right.
really?
We're more suspicious than
Wow.
Scott Taddick. Like, we're going to put our efforts into researching Jim Thyrell when he was in jail that day, or we're going to put our research into, Kim Ducat, who, whatever, right?
He's amazing.
So, I want this guy to feel comfortable. I want him to feel safe. I want him to know that he knows it. He knows that we have his back. He knows the team here that we're working with. He knows it. Why we have an echo, you guys? What's up?
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
It stopped. So,
Hmm.
no, I hear a cat.
Oh, that's in my background. I can't help that. My kitty's screaming in the other room.
It's
and I
all right. All right. So,
I can't shut her up.
I probably forgot a lot of good details because, but it was, I don't know if you all want to discuss it more. We can read through this because maybe we should just address it now, right?
Yeah, if you
The
want.
chat.
If you want,
I mean,
sure.
go for it.
You want to start at the beginning, or is that stupid?
No. I mean, well, it's pretty stupid, but yeah.
You can all see it. That's right. Is that right?
What
Yeah.
I've noticed is that some of the fake Kenny Kratz and those people have dropped off. They're not.
Okay.
Yay, hooray.
They're not doing their criticizing anymore.
All right. Should we do what I always do and just say, how about you start asking questions or bashing
Sure,
us
let
with
them
comments
ask.
now?
Sure,
Yeah?
let them ask.
Mhm.
Okay. Everybody hear that? Ask away. I see Colette saying hi, Mazzy. Hi, Mazzy. I think Mazzy saying, I think tempers fray when people feel threatened.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. People don't have any idea. I mean, everybody knows. I mean, I could be wrong, but I've heard certain researchers won't even go to Manitowoc because they know how corrupt it is, yet they don't give a shit that we are literally saying, we need support.
There's
So,
people that live right there that will not go to the courthouse or go anywhere into Manitowoc because they're so afraid. They don't want to get stopped by a cop and get a ticket, or who's watching them.
well,
It's
there's so much more to
unbelievable.
all that too. And I talked with Tom about that today too, we don't, yes, this is all surrounding Stephen Avery and an era of corruption, but we're not saying that this new, generations of cops out there are these dirty, ridiculous like all of these people did to Stephen Avery. Yes, they were all corrupt.
Right.
And we know, and we discussed it today. I know Kim and I know Anna and I have discussed this, that one of the reasons we're able to come forward is because there's so many eyes on these counties. And I know for myself, when I came forward, I thought, wow, there's all these researchers out there that are going to have my back, and it's safe to come forward. And I found out that's not the case at all. So as you all know, that's why I call this local motion, because I want locals to feel comfortable coming forward. And Tom Sowinski knows, and as does every single local that comes to me, that their information is confidential. And he knows. He didn't tell me anything confidential.
Right.
Not one thing he told me that he said I could not say. And my notes are in my car, and my car isn't here, so I'm pissed because of course I'm missing that. But maybe he will come on,
I
maybe,
wish, I hope.
Well, and then you
That
got
if
would
he
make-
doesn't, I'll do another video explaining why he won't,
Well, I mean,
If
you said-
Zellner has a problem, she can, I know she can get a hold of any one of us. We're not working against Zellner, we're people that have a very important part of this too, and we're not trying to be anything else but what we're doing.
and
right?
we're not out here for any other reason than to watch Stephen and Brendan walk out
Yep.
of their cages.
well, and
Mhm.
there was one comment on here about you're doing it for fame, for
Me?
attention.
Me?
Well, all of us.
That's
What does
right.
it getting attention have to do with any of this? I'm doing it because Steve's my cousin. I love him to death, and I want him home. And I live in this community. I don't want something like this to happen to anybody else in my family.
Right.
And Kim Ducat, I have got to drag you to be in any part of this, do I not?
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
We all know in our research community that sometimes kicking and screaming, huh, Kim?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because I love you. You are very. I was just thinking of this today, Kim. How you say, believe it or don't give a
Don't
shit.
care.
Don't care, right? And I love it that you can do that. You've never been looking for attention. And fame. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Try being Tom Sowinski in the world.
Right.
Yep.
Try being Missy Avery, probably.
Mhm.
Well, truthfully, when Ma'am first came out and people realized I was in it, you wouldn't believe the people that said, "Oh my God, how much money did you make off that? You must be
Really?
pretty wealthy."
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't make a red penny off of it.
And now
I went to the bank, got a mortgage for my house, just like any other person does. I went to the bank, got a loan for my car, just like anybody else does.
Mm.
I didn't
Kim-
make a penny.
And Kim, didn't you tell me that they had also asked you to do Ma'am too, but you said you wouldn't because it was like they wanted to bring in the whole film crew or something like that?
They did, but I wasn't as opened as I was the first time
Right.
because I thought it was a joke.
Right. And Making a Murderer had come out and you were like thrown into
Oh my God, I couldn't go anywhere without people pointing and staring and
in
whispering.
good and bad ways, or
I had a lot more bad than good.
Sure.
And then the second one that came, I mean, the first time I did it, it was just me and the two ladies. We're sitting at my kitchen table. It was just very relaxed.
Maura and Laura, right?
Yeah.
The Netflix women.
Yeah. And it was very relaxed. And it was, just like having a conversation like we are now. The second time, they had this entire film crew. they rearranged my house, and I just didn't feel comfortable. I didn't feel like I was doing any good for Steve by doing this. So,
Well,
I spoke a little bit, but nothing big.
right. Now, can I ask you this? If Kim, you can, if you don't want to answer this, just don't. But didn't somebody make a really shitty comment to you during the filming of that about the family tree or something?
Oh, yeah.
Can you repeat it, or is that just
No,
shitty?
that's fine. They asked if my family tree went straight up. And I said, no, it's got branches just like everybody else's family tree.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, and it was one of the film crew that had asked me that.
Whoa.
And were you offended, or did you chuckle, or were you just like,
Well, I was offended, but I thought it was funny.
right?
But
Right.
it's like, no, my tree branches off just like everybody else's.
But now, do you show up in Ma'am too, as you didn't want to be on there?
Truthfully, I haven't even watched it.
Oh,
Hmm.
I watched it once and I didn't watch it again, and I don't
Yeah,
know.
so I don't even know.
But you must not have, or it would have been all over the internet.
Yeah, so probably
Right.
not much.
Right. And you weren't refusing because of, not, whatever.
No, I just, yeah.
And I'm pretty sure, too, if they really wanted you to, and they really could have told you, or you believed it was good for Steven, you would have.
Well, exactly.
Mhm. So anyway, we have Sowinski out there who shouldn't be feeling so afraid to be living his life because he's telling the truth. I mean, what the heck, right? And
Mhm.
I don't want him to feel so afraid. And I do. I want the people that are watching him and, threatening him to know that we're out here with him now too. And we
Well, he
got
should
his
feel.
back too. And we're all watching. Other people are watching us. So any support is also supporting this man in his safety.
Well,
So,
maybe he feels safer knowing that you met with him.
right.
We're having this
Yep.
open chat.
Yes. With
So
somebody
they can't
that,
silence him because he's already said everything and he's talked to people who are credible, and he can't be silenced in the same way he could before, like Zellner's statement or something.
he said he got this information to Strang and Beauty. And that they
Really?
said, get this.
Wow.
So they told him that it was, or Zellner told him that String and Beauty had their email server switched over, and they must have lost that email.
Mm-hmm.
How convenient.
Yes, very convenient.
Mm-hmm. And Sowinski, Tom too, he was, I mean, if I get to say what he said, and I don't know what it would hurt anybody, but he said String and Beauty sucked. They were totally ineffective counsel. So he's not, you know what I mean? He's a real guy that has thoughts about it, And right, Steve is behind bars. Obviously it was ineffective counsel, But Zellner sure knew to get right on that, didn't she?
She did.
Mm-hmm. And then too, he said I'm gonna say this because I think it's pretty cool. I'm gonna say this because he told me this, and I can. He said when Zellner finally did get a hold of him, he said to her, gosh, what took you so long? And she said to him, what was the word he used? She said that she had 3 different private investigators looking at him to make sure he was credible. So
Wow.
take it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
so obviously she knows the man is credible. And then he said too, he's like, he moved away and he kept thinking about it. And he's like, why doesn't it matter? This matters so much, like, why isn't it important? And he kept trying. And I think that's the key for people. It's not like Zellner didn't care. It's that she's probably doing her own shit, but he wouldn't let it go. It felt that significant to him. So awesome, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it can get
mean-
lost in the middle, and maybe it did get lost with, well, obviously it got lost with MTSO, then it got lost with Strang and Beauty, and then it got to Zellner, right? So it wasn't like he's like, I think I'll come forward now. Do people realize that I don't know if it's in his affidavit, it isn't, but he showed me the text message he sent to Zellner. It may be in the affidavit, I don't know. He said that he is absolutely not doing it for the money, and if there would be any reward money, he would want it all to go to the Halbach family.
Wow.
Of course, you know me, I'm like, well, let's talk more about that. But you know, he's not doing it for the money. He's actually he's just speaking truth, and it sucks that he has to feel so afraid to speak it. So we got him, and hopefully others understand that a little better now.
Well,
Court, going back to being afraid to speak out, remember when we first started this, digging into it, and I was very vocal and you're very vocal. Remember me calling you how many times saying the cops are outside my house here?
Yeah.
I can see the cops down the street watching my house.
Yeah.
So,
And remember, and so we don't talk, Kim, you and I never talk about our phones being tapped.
right.
We don't, because we feel like people are going to think we're totally insane, but we all know it. Everybody knew it.
But we still stood our ground. We did not back down, and we showed them that we weren't afraid. We're moving on. Watch us all you want. That's all you have to do.
Well, we'll give it a little explanation. There is that it happened after I met with Jeff Wish from DCI.
Yes.
About my brother's case. And then I don't know. It was after that. I don't know what was going on with you, but it was certainly going on when we started putting out the track stuff. Right.
Right.
And then, what would happen is, right, we'd always hear the crackling. We'd always lose calls. We could sometimes literally hear a voice.
Yep.
And it wouldn't just happen, like it was during, everybody I talked to, like I talked to now, knew it. We all knew it. We all had the call drop. We all heard it. And especially it would be at certain times, right?
Oh, exactly. Yes.
So what we do, because we were certain of it, absolutely certain of it. And we also were like, well, we don't really have anything to hide. And I feel like because, I literally said to Jeff Wish that you are not in any way working for the people. You're still going to continue to cover for the state. And I do believe I'm a threat to the state with what I have on my brother's case. I do. I know what I have. So anyway, and of course, Kim, with what you're doing, and now we're meeting constantly and talking constantly, talking to, like other well-known researchers that know what's happening too,
Right.
So what
and
we
look
do,
at how many phone calls I've gotten about, that I better stop doing this. And
bring me back
Or
to
were
that,
they
because
anonymous? Or
Yeah.
they really?
yeah, you got
Anonymous
those
calls?
two, and the one said back the fuck off, right?
Yep.
And then the next one said, I told you to back the fuck off. Now I talked to Brad Dassey the other day, and he said when that was all going on with Barb, he too got phone calls, and he said he could have
that's right.
swore it sounded like Chuck. And you know how funny I think that is.
Who
But
said that? Who said
Brad
it sounded-
Dassey also got some calls like that, and he said it sounded just like Chuck.
No, I
So-
could be still getting them now, but
Yeah,
I live
your
in
phone.
a dead zone,
Right.
so I don't always
So
get my
what we
phone
did,
calls.
when our phones were being tapped is, I know, you guys wait till Twitter hears this, huh? Tomorrow?
Right.
We crazy lunatics making this statement. So what we do is, we knew it was Jeff Wish from DCI. So every time we'd have a conversation, or, if we could hear the sound, or even just hanging up, we'd say, fuck you, Jeff Wish.
Yep.
Yep. Fuck you, Jeff Wish. Record every single word we're saying. We're peace-loving truth seekers. We are nonviolent. We're just looking for truth. Record every word. Do not cut out one thing we're saying.
I think
Right?
I was saying hi to Peterson
Yes. Oh yeah, we had it was a good time. So, and yeah, some of those things. But then anyway, one night I kind of just had enough and smashed my phone, and I haven't had one since, and I don't miss it a bit. Not that
Right.
they can't, I don't know. I don't know. It was,
It
even though
just
you don't
was.
have anything to hide, it was just sometimes I just burst out crying. I'm like, this is the stupidest thing in the world. Like, what the heck, Anyway, I
Okay,
don't, we
Court.
don't,
There's
yeah.
a lady on here that wants you to address the recent document filed with the court by
Okay, let's
Steve
do it.
today.
So
Okay.
do you want me to, or does
No, go
someone on
ahead.
here, would you like to? What do we know about it is that it is a complaint filed with the legislature. He filed it with the legislature. They filed it over to Manitowoc so now it is in his circuit court file. From what we think, he didn't think that it was going to go public, but it is public. It sounds like he has a typewriter in his cell, and he's acquired some law books, and this is legitimately Stevens. And I think what he's saying is he's absolutely, of course he's working with Zellner. Give me a break, everybody. There's nothing Steven can do to screw with what Zellner's doing. Zellner is Zellner.
Right.
Nothing Steven can do or would do would hurt what she's doing. He's made a complaint to the fucking lawmakers, right, that keep him
Right.
wrongfully incarcerated.
Right.
So
And I don't, like you said, I don't think he realized that it was getting filed in a circuit court like that.
right.
He was just asking them to look at this, look what they've done to me, and he put all the statutes down. He
Right.
didn't necessarily want it filed to the court system.
Right, but
No.
they probably, because of what he's saying in it, wouldn't you think, would want
Right.
that to be in with his record, right?
Well-
Because
Well, I think Courtney is another thing too. Is he sent it to the legislature, correct? But they also put it in there so that they could never go back and say, well, we didn't get it. Because he could pull this out, they could pull this out of there and say, oh, well, you may not have gotten it, but I made sure that I had the copy.
Right, I get it.
In my files.
You were talking about Stephen now, though, not
Yeah.
the court.
Yeah.
I think
Well-
basically he was just like writing a letter, like I would write you a letter,
Right.
not knowing it was going to go that far.
Right. Right.
Well, anybody in his position would keep a copy of something like that meant so much to them. They would absolutely keep a copy.
Mhm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
well, and
because-
don't you think it's pretty cool?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I
Well-
think it's really cool that he's doing that for himself. It's not anything against Zellner in any
No,
way.
it has nothing to do with her.
I think it's remarkable, and I wish he would have done it sooner.
Yeah.
Like from day one. Brendan, I mean, I hear Brendan's, capable and writing well and reading a lot, and it might help for him to do the same type thing. Like Stephen,
And I
is
knew
sick of
Steve was going to
waiting.
do this already.
You did.
Yeah,
did.
there's a few more that he's in the
Okay.
process of doing, but I'm not going to say until I get
Okay.
his permission to say or until they're released.
Okay, now you're going to bring up a lot of chaos and drama because people think that you are swaying
yes.
his decisions, Kim.
Oh my God, I have
and
so much
you're ruining
influence.
his chances, and we're putting conspiracies in his head. Will you start with just? We'll go to that, but I want you yourself to, just for people, tell us how Steven's doing. Just his spirits. Is he depressed? Is he out of his mind? Is he?
No,
what is-
he's happy. He's trying to help himself
Mm-hmm.
besides what Zellner's doing.
Yep.
He's thinking that if he does it, the words are coming from him to these people.
Mhm.
He talks a lot about his future. You know, we don't talk about the case unless I have a question that I don't understand, you know, and I will ask him.
Mhm.
I don't talk to him about the cage that he's in.
Mhm.
We talk about things that happened in our past and, you know, like, do you remember this happening, Steve? I don't remember who was all there type thing. But
Right.
it's always upbeat. I always have him laughing.
Mhm.
And that's
Um,
good. That's a
Mhm.
good thing.
You know,
But
I will never say anything to him that will burst his bubble ever.
right. And there have been times I was like, Kim, you need to be honest with him, and you're like,
Nope.
nope. She won't, because you know that time does go really fast, right? I would
Right.
think. And
Yeah.
you've been
I
waiting
mean,
to hear from him, and you know, and you know, it's appalling. Why would he want to talk about the case? Why would he want to talk about the absolute fuckery of him being in there? What's the point of
right.
wasting this 10 or 15 minutes I have with somebody that loves me dearly instead of talking about the bullshit, right?
Well, and I know what
So,
shows he watches, so I always ask him, you know, did you see this show today? What were they talking about? And did you learn anything?
Yeah.
Or
did
I'll
he
have a
like?
problem with my car. I'll ask him about it. What's his opinion on it? You know,
What shows does he like, Kim? What shows does he watch?
we just have everyday conversation.
I mean,
No,
what
but
TV
TV
shows does
shows.
he like? I'm just curious.
Oh, he watches the cooking shows.
Cooking? Okay.
hey Kim, can you answer this? Did you get to talk to him at all after Dolores died?
Yes, I did. Yeah,
Okay. Can you tell us a little?
he was heartbroken. He was frustrated. He was pissed off. You know, he was all of that. And, you know, I did the best I could to calm him down and talk him through it. And I was listening. I let him talk.
Mhm.
And, you know, I just told him, you're going to be with her. She will always, always be with you no matter what.
Yeah.
And you just got to get through this.
Mhm.
And he does. Doesn't he
Yeah.
get through a lot? It's incredible.
He's an
Absolutely.
amazing person. He really is an amazing person.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
If you stop and you think about, he spent 18 years, got out with a smile on his face, happy to be where he was, only to be returned to where he came from. And he's still that happy guy. You
Yeah,
know?
he won't let anything get him down.
It's just he's
Well,
an
it's
amazing person.
you know when you have the truth, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it would be so much different if he was, you know, not innocent. But, you know, you're going to keep fighting like that. You're going to stay strong, right? And
And
he
you
has a
have
lot to
to.
stay strong for. And, you know, well, we have a lot more to talk about. I wanted to keep this kind of on our Tom Sowinski. Do you guys feel like we've covered it pretty well? My meeting with him. Do you feel like you have a
Oh
good
yeah.
idea? Do you have any questions? Because I might not have answered everything, and I might have the answer.
No, I think you covered it well, Courtney. I don't have any
Yeah.
questions about
Yeah.
Tom.
I really liked knowing that, getting the feeling that he had about Bobby. You know, it wasn't just like pulling up and pulling around and doing his job. Nuh-uh. He saw right away something wasn't right. And that Bobby, I wonder what would have happened if Bobby would have stopped him.
I
Oh,
wonder.
God.
Oh, I don't
Mhm.
even want to
Yeah.
think.
And
Yeah.
you can read people pretty well by their body language.
Yeah.
Well,
And I'd
and
imagine,
you guys, first of all, well, I was saying to Tom, I'm like, so why do you think that they would have been out there doing it at that time? And he's like, because they didn't want Stephen to hear it. And I said, well, you've been delivering these papers for years. So obviously they know Stephen, well, maybe he wouldn't know, but of course somebody knows that the paper is delivered overnight. Now Bobby might not, because he works third shift and maybe he
Right.
forgot about that, right?
Right.
oh, there you
And
go.
Tom too was saying, some days he might have done that paper route a little bit later. It wasn't consistently that time. But still, if Bobby's on third shift, he might not have remembered that the paper guy comes through. But then I said to Tom, I said, but you said you were going down a gravel road at that time. You had to swerve, hit your brakes, drop off the paper, cruise back down, swerve, hit your brakes, and Stephen didn't see that, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, if Stephen had seen that, Stephen would have, right? So where were and again, they weren't pushing it from Bobby's garage. They were pushing it down Avery Road.
So they came off of 147.
They came off of 147. Mm-hmm.
Well,
And why are they pushing it? Why?
Yeah.
Well,
How?
so a thought is that maybe, if I don't hear the paper person come in my neighborhood because I'm used to it. I'm used
You're
to
right,
hearing
and
it
they
every
don't go
day.
down that far, Sharon. They, he's
No.
just going to the mailbox, turning around,
Right.
zipping back
Right.
down.
And if you hear something all the time, like railroad tracks, like a whistle. I used to live near a railroad track. I'd quit hearing it after a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So maybe Stephen just quit hearing it.
I think
Well,
I honestly think they were pushing a decoy. I'm sorry, but
What? Right? Who put it there?
yeah.
I think Anna fell off. She said she's off.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but that's okay. But yeah. See, now again, for me, now I got to sit with this. Don't you? Like
Yeah.
really sit with this and figure out how it fits into other things, right?
Exactly.
Well, they
Mhm.
couldn't have the car running because that's going to make more noise. They have to go past Alan Dolores's trailer. Steve might not necessarily hear that because he's way down on the end there. But to come into the yard, and if they're going to go straight towards the shop area, you're going past Dolores and Al's place.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Okay.
what about Chuck?
Yeah, well, I'm getting to that.
Okay.
So if
sorry.
you veer off to the left, you're still going past Al and Dolores's, plus you're going right past Chuck's place.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
by pushing it, would it have made it quieter and nobody would have heard it
Yeah.
instead of driving it?
Right.
Yeah.
What if
Yeah.
the battery issue, though, Kim? What if the battery, like they seem to think there was a problem with the battery?
Yeah, that it
being
was a
switched?
Crown
What if it
Vic
wouldn't
battery
run?
or something, right?
Yeah, that I
Wouldn't
don't
run.
get.
What if it wouldn't run?
But you know what? We don't get it, but I'll bet that the answers are out there, or maybe somebody watching, that's
Right.
the part that
Why was
sucks
the
so
battery
much about
switched?
the community is that we're so broken up that we can't come together to solve it. The research community.
Well,
Yeah,
then-
why I got us off track, and Kim, I heard you say, yeah, why was the battery?
Yeah, why was the battery removed?
who knows?
Well,
Well,
I'm sure
maybe-
Teresa didn't
okay,
have
so-
the wrong battery in.
Or
well,
was there
it's
even a
not the same
battery?
car. I don't think it's the same vehicle.
mm-mm.
Right.
I have
And
no. I
It's
have
the one they
no-
found on the property, all right.
It is, but
Mhm.
I will never believe it was the same car that was supposedly hers.
And
Mm-mm.
if it was a decoy, why would it even have a battery in it to begin with? I mean, if they got it off of another salvage yard, how in the hell would they have known that it didn't have a battery in it?
Mm-hmm. Hey, this is a huge thing that I skipped. I'm glad that this Missy Jelkin,
Yes.
excuse me, because I do have a lot to say about this. She says, has anyone figured out who it was with Bobby helping push the RAV? So I talked to Tom about this. I'm sure I left this out. What an asshole. Because I asked him. Of course, I asked him that. I'm like, describe the other guy. And I told you what he said, but he said he had like a ZZ Top beard, not cut flat or anything, but it came below his neckline. But he kept doing this to me when he was talking. He said there was something lighter colored on his beard here. And like I said, he said he didn't see his face because he was hiding behind. But when he turned and saw him in the taillights, he could, but he said he was a bigger guy, and that I actually asked him if he knew who Mike Osmondson was, and he didn't have a clue of who he was. And Kim Vest just sent me some pictures, and I sent them over to him, and he was like, He said, what did he look like in 2005? But he thought that was a very good possibility.
I could
So-
see
Yeah.
Mike and him
Yeah.
Bobby doing it together. 'cause
He
it seems
said
like they
he
did
wasn't a
everything
small
else.
guy, so it wasn't what I believe was Chuck. I'm not saying Anna didn't see Bobby and Chuck at the 147 one. Not saying that.
Oh,
Just
good
saying
one,
this
Bryce.
night it was
Oh, here's a good-
Bobby
Here's a
and
good
What?
comment right here. I think the guy says, I think the battery was removed to
Yep.
disarm an alarm.
And that,
That's
yeah, because
interesting.
you know what? They would have to open the doors, and that would put on the
Yeah.
dome light, and it would
Yes.
set off the
Yes,
ding, ding,
yes.
ding, ding.
Wow,
That makes
right?
Yes.
sense.
Thank
There
you,
you go.
Bryce.
Thank you,
Oh.
Bryce.
Yes.
Never thought.
I don't know
about
why
it.
they'd have to remove it though. Couldn't they just disconnect it?
Yes, they could have.
But if that was a car that came from a salvage yard, it didn't have to have a battery in it, so they were good. Because if they
No.
opened the,
Well,
huh?
if they had parked a RAV as a decoy on that property, and somebody opened the hood and it didn't have a battery, wouldn't that have caused questions from somebody? But if it's got a
No.
battery and it's the wrong one, you might not notice, right?
Well, my understanding, and I could be wrong, when a junkyard takes a car in, the battery comes out.
That's what I
Okay.
thought.
Okay.
And the only reason I said that is because the battery that was in there, number one post was not connected.
Right.
Number two, a battery has numbers on it, and you
Right.
can use those numbers to trace it back to what type vehicle it goes in, and at what date it was bought, and by whom.
Hmm.
So there you
hmm
have it. And it went back to a Crown Vic, and it went back to Manitowoc County. And the only person that would have known how to put it in there and knew that it would fit and work would have been Andrew Coburn.
Bingo.
Well,
And-
because he worked at the county cop shop.
Well, the main
Other
thing
people
for
might
me
have
is
known.
that a man saw anybody pushing a damn RAV4, and guess what? Wasn't fucking Steven or Brendan, now was it?
Nope.
How's that?
Mm-mm.
Doesn't
And who else thought it was
Michael?
yeah, Osmond that
Well, obviously Steven names him,
right?
And
and I
Osmondson
think
didn't even
Steven.
know.
I think Zellner knows who the bearded guy is. I don't know if it's Michael, but it sure could be Michael,
Well,
right?
That's what Steve said it was.
Steve's
and-
saying Michael, huh?
Yep.
And Michael can't even remember what day he was on the salvage yard last. He said the 10th. Well, it was all cordoned off. Stephen had already been arrested. Bobby was nowhere around, but well, he was around because he was staying with Mike O. What they do, sneak in there at night? I don't think so.
Right.
I mean, it was blocked off for forever. You couldn't get in there. There was cops everywhere.
And now, right, Mike O is the same guy that said that Steven made the comment about helping him bury a body,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Hide a body.
And when they were messing with a deer in the garage or something.
I don't think
Something
it was.
like that. I thought.
Yeah, that's right.
I still have a
So
real
another
problem.
guy that has a total, the worst thing you can say about Steven is involved in it. How nice, huh?
Really. Hey, and you know what? I got one question. If anybody ever gets the opportunity to ask Stephen, I want to know the answer to this question. At noon on October 31st was Scott Taddick's truck in front of Barb's house? I want to know the answer from Stephen. Because he said, or the paperwork says, or whatever says, he said it was. And I want to know that. That question has bothered me forever. Forever. So that means who all was on the computer, who was there at 11:45 when Teresa made the phone call saying,
Oh,
I'll
right.
be there around 2:00. If that's all right with you, call me back.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
If ever anybody gets that opportunity to ever, I don't know who, if he maybe write letter, I don't know. Because I know if I write a letter, I'm not going to ever get an answer. Probably he's got so much letters and stuff. He's inundated with mail, and questions. But that's one. If anybody ever gets to talk to him, I
Who?
want to know the answer to that.
Talk to who?
Stephen.
All right, Kim, you got that?
I got it. I just
Thank
wrote it
you,
down.
dear. Thank you,
Cool.
love.
Cool. So, is there any others on here that we should look at, you guys? I don't know. Are you
Well, let's
looking
see.
at the
Brian
chat?
Zoller says, so Tom's not saying the other guy was a 60-year-old, approximately. I'm confused. Mike
Oh,
O
come
was
on.
like 18.
Yes.
I don't recall him telling me what age he thought. I don't know if I asked because I don't. All I know is
Huh?
he said, and I could be wrong. I will ask him, Brian. He said he was, because I said, you know how Anna saw Chuck and Bobby, and he doesn't know who Chuck is. He said he didn't know who Chuck was, but Chuck's probably, I would say Chuck's probably about 5'8", and that's what I am. And I don't think Tom Sowinski is much taller than that. So he was saying he was a taller
Oh,
guy. Just,
I think because you said the gray in the beard.
Yeah.
well, but I don't
Yeah, the
know.
beard throws
Right.
people off.
I don't know if it was
That
just
could-
discolor in the beard or gray is what
Right.
I'm saying. I don't know what Tom told me. Okay. I don't know what I didn't sit with his statement to Zellner. So
Well,
he
And
just
also,
kept saying
it was
there was
dark.
like a, what he thought was gray. But yes, he did say it was dark.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
and
how would he
And
have
he
seen
sees
the?
him, remember, from his taillights, from the light of his taillights, and then he's ducking in front of the window or the door jamb. So
and
I
it
don't.
could be the same as like during the summer, I get this blonde streak on one side of my hair.
Yeah.
Some people just get
Right.
a streak.
Right.
Mhm.
So
Anyway,
it could have
I
been
feel
something like
like
that.
the very best thing we could all do is seriously find the bearded guy. I mean, diligently.
Mhm.
And the beard, that was October. November is deer hunting, no shave November. The guy could have been starting his beard early for hunting. Because, that's a big thing around here. The men grow their beards for hunting.
How long was the beard again? Like from his chin down? How long?
He
do you
said
think
just
it was?
he didn't say it. He said it was beyond his neck. It wasn't like a
Okay.
groomed beard. It was a messy beard,
Okay.
but longer.
Okay. I
Yeah.
might do some
Right.
digging. I might look through newspapers and look for local events of people in
Yeah.
that time frame, and I might see a face that might be something might stick out.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't know if it's okay to say this, but yeah, Kim Vest was sending me pictures of Mike O, and I did show him to Sowinski, and he through Messenger said, I don't know. I mean, he didn't say no. He asked if there were any pictures of what he looked like in 2005, and he doesn't know. He knows a beard and a build. He didn't see his face. He saw his size, that he was wearing a puffy coat and he was dirty. Like, he thought he, was working on a salvage yard. Maybe he was dirty. he doesn't know why Bobby didn't have a shirt. I was telling Tom, it makes more sense to me for some reason that he didn't have a shirt on between 2 and 3 in the morning. That makes more sense to me than not having a shirt on at 5:30 in the morning for some reason.
Hey,
And
what does
also, wasn't he supposed to be working third shift, Bobby?
Well, it
Yeah.
would have been Friday night, and I think that if I recall right, he would have had off Friday through Sunday night.
Oh,
Is
okay.
that right? And
okay?
then
So
gone
Yeah.
back.
They get
how
done Friday
tall?
morning.
Yeah, so they
How
have off
tall is
Friday.
how tall is Josh Radant?
Hmm.
Mm,
Yeah, Bryce, you're right. It could have been.
Mhm.
mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it may have been. You know, so
I would, and then they're saying Zoller's saying, he's
6 to
saying
12-inch
6.
beard.
No, I thought he was talking about the height.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what I think he said.
6'1" or 2 inches. Is that what he means?
6'12" would be 7 foot.
6 to 12 inches is his beard, isn't it?
Yeah, I think.
Is that what he's saying? Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, Bryce is saying he watched Ma'am and you know the funny thing is right, this came out a year ago. There's probably researchers out there that think they know exactly who the bearded guy is. Maybe we'll find out, right?
I hope so.
It's probably been because of just that I never really thought to get a hold of Sowinski. You know what I mean? Until somebody that I really trust said, maybe you should give him a listen. I didn't put it into anything, so it was very much a pleasure to meet him and get that information right from him. So,
Yeah.
and now
Okay,
it all, now it isn't just a piece of paper that he signed and we have to add everything, all the pieces to it. Like I can see it just as he's saying it now, and we've all been on that road, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And
No,
get
no,
the
no. The
feeling that he
beard,
had.
according to KZ, was 6 to 12 inches long, is what Brian's saying.
Yeah, I just saw that. Okay.
Okay. Well,
Well,
yeah.
the thing is, Tom must have been living in hell this last 12, 14 years with this on him, knowing what he knew and nowhere to express himself. I mean, how do you get up in the morning and look at yourself in the mirror and just talk to yourself,
Right.
Well, and he's a cool
Exactly.
guy. He admits he said I've had trouble with the law, and they have, they do look at me differently, and nothing too big, whatever, right? But we all know how it is. Once they just keep looking at you, keep looking at you, keep looking at you, right? You kind of look like a shitty guy to some
Yeah.
people, right?
But I don't think he's that. I don't really think.
No, he's really accountable. And he talked about his sister Ivy. He talked about, and there too that we were all talking earlier about that with foul play, and what we decided was we're not going to talk anymore about this person, but we do think that phone call is very, very significant.
Mm-hmm.
There was a phone call between this Kim Ducat. I don't know if you've heard that yet, but it's pretty amazing. And it was Sowinski's sister, but he's he
Well,
he can
between
tell you
Tom
all
and his
about his sister.
sister?
It's his sister,
Mm.
and it's cool. She's that call is actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
From what I
Who
heard.
called who on that?
There's just a random call that Foul Play put out, and it was Ivy Sowinski or something, and
Mm-hmm.
it was his sister, and she put out this call, and it to Manitowoc County, and Foul Play just released it. I don't know when they did, and it's pretty interesting because we can't really determine what she's saying, but we think that it involves Shannon Avery, who's Chuck's daughter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Mhm.
I think it says that her friend Shannon was homeless, and didn't have a place to stay, so she let her stay with her for a couple of nights. And when she let Shannon use her phone to, I don't know, call somebody or call some people or whatever, and whoever she called wanted Ivy's phone number and address.
Okay.
And my first thought was, did she call her dad? And
No,
her-
because she said that her dad wanted,
Yeah,
Shannon's
yeah,
dad
she
wanted
said
the
that.
address. Well, Shannon's dad is Chuck.
Yeah, yeah,
And then there was some comment made that Shannon, right, that she made about he should have never gotten out of jail or something like that. And I think people assume that it's about Stephen, but I think it's about Chuck.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Anyway,
I'm missing something.
yeah, Kim, we just recently listened to it
Yep.
within the last couple days, and you weren't around, so I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty interesting. Um, we got J-Jax on the live. Whoa, it was to Queso. Okay.
Thank you, J-Jax.
But and she had said it was Shannon Avery.
Mm-hmm.
And Kim, is Shannon Avery? Well, that her name that she goes by now, is that a married name? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so she would have been back then. Cool. Okay. And it was to Calumet County. Imagine that.
I know Shannon was homeless for a while.
See, look at Brian wrote. He said it was a call to Queso on November 11th. Says Shannon's dad, Chuck, wants to know her number and address.
Yeah.
Wants to know whose?
Ivy's, I
Ivy's?
guess.
Ivy's, yes.
Well, that's
Mm.
fucked up because
Why?
by then, Tom had already called
But
or
why?
Manitowoc County.
Yeah.
But why did
Yeah,
Chuck
because he
wanna
called
know?
just days, like a day or two or whatever it was. Yeah, I don't know. Don't take my word. I don't have that accurate what it was. He does with Zellner, but anyway, it was definitely before November 11th. So what the
Wow.
heck does Chuck want her number for
Yeah.
or
Mm.
address? Oh,
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
what?
Yeah. What?
And
Okay, so J-Jax, tell me this. Okay, it was a call on the 11th, but are they talking? Yes, but they must be talking about whatever was going on the 31st. Is that right? I mean, it wasn't just a random day that Shannon's talking about, right? Is it on the 31st of October, or I don't know. Do you guys know what I mean? What I'm saying? Okay, yep, Shannon.
Yeah.
I see she was using her phone, but was she using her phone like on October 31st or November 3rd, or was it? That's what I'm wondering. And it must have been, because otherwise, why would she called in? Like I say, we haven't really. I think we've all individually listened to it, but I already knew when I was done I needed to get way deeper into it.
Just weird as shit to me that two Sowinskis
Are
are
calling
calling.
KE. Who's KE?
I think he
Who's
means
KE?
Ellie, law enforcement.
Okay.
Okay, I'm still
That's
tripping
weird.
about Shannon
Detective.
wanting to speak to Chuck.
It's Kim. You got to listen to it. I'm confused about it. They were yeah, I'm confused about it. So I don't know. Maybe we'll send you the video. Maybe there's comments that explain it on it. I don't know.
Right.
Like I said, it came in fast. But J-Jax is saying just weird as shit to me that two Sowinskis are calling, I don't know, law enforcement. Well, yeah, it is weird, but I don't know. I don't know who Ivy is. Tom explained a little bit about her, and it's his sister. It's his sister. So I don't know what to tell you. I mean, he has a few things that he could say, but it's totally separate from all of this. He didn't know about this. I asked him who Ivy was because I said this call came out. Then when I was telling him about it, he had no idea. He did say that his sister has had, a lifetime of different, things go on, but of course he loves her. It's his sister. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not going to get into that part of it, but it seems weird, but it's something that's just coming out now, right? I mean, we had never, this call just came out, right? I mean, just came to our knowledge.
Right.
So
Mhm.
I think I'll have to talk to Tom about it because I don't think it's come to his knowledge. I'll send it to him. That would be a good idea, so he can decipher it. And he does want to talk more because he does want to be heard. And he said that, of course he has this record, and he's like, that's you all see what's on a record, and he's like, it wasn't that way. He's like, I've never been married, I've never been divorced, like there's things that aren't accurate. And just like Anna wants people to hear her, and of course I want people to hear me and what I'm trying to say, he also wants people to hear what he's saying because he's telling the truth, and he
Right.
wants to defend his character. We all do. It's really, really hard to just sit and funny too, because he's saying, I know it's just the internet, and but it still really sucks. I'm like, dude, you don't have to tell me. I
Yeah.
know how it feels, and it does, and especially when you can't defend yourself. So whatever.
Mhm.
So we'll let him decide if he wants to come on. He might be sitting there hating me right now, but I doubt it.
Oh, I doubt that.
No, he's a really cool guy, and I hope that he will talk more, and maybe he'd like to talk to someone else. When I met with him, I said maybe, if you don't want to do it with me, maybe do it with someone else. It didn't have to be with me. I just thought his voice, if it were okay, it should be heard. And like I said, it's always nice to see their faces. And Kim Ducat, when we went to Strang and Beauty, same thing, right?
Right.
You knew that you had their email address, you could make that connection, and we both were like, let's just try it. Let's look
Yeah.
them in the eyes and see what they're saying. And we
There was
didn't walk.
no foul in it, no shame, no
Not
nothing.
at all. It was people having a conversation, and yes, we've seen them on screen, and yes, Kim has met them, but it was also, I mean, we both walked out going, we still don't really know.
Right.
We say all the time, we thought Dean String seemed like a nice, compassionate guy. Jerry Beauty wasn't. He was okay, stuffier, probably OCD.
Right.
Whatever. But it wasn't like we were going to go in there and they were going to be like, we are so sorry, we were ineffective counsel for Steven, or we were going in to say, what the fuck do you think you were doing there? If I could go again, I might, I will. And maybe because I don't follow String and Beauty, they have justified all the reasons they screwed it up. I don't know. But obviously, Kim, how does Steven feel about String and Beauty?
Oh, he has no use for them. He thinks Steve thinks they screwed him over.
Well, obviously, that's what he's saying in his letter, that String and Beauty had all of this information before.
But
So
did
Steve,
they? What
on
was really going
Sowinski?
on behind the scenes?
Well,
Yeah,
right.
we
But
don't know.
yeah, but he's saying that somewhere it went really, really wrong, and it's not, and he didn't do anything. So, right. Anyway, let me take a few more questions, unless you guys have something, because I'm not really feeling great, and we've gotten off here. Like, okay,
Thanks for
I got you,
posting that
Jay
today.
Jax. Actually, the call was recorded and posted in our playlist. Yeah. Ah. Okay. Jay Jax is saying that the call was recorded and posted to the Foul Play playlist almost 2 years ago. I was looking for another call a couple of weeks ago and ran across it. Cool. Because
Yes, send it to me. I gotta listen to that one.
And like I said, I'll send it if Tom doesn't know about it. I'll send it. I don't know if he cares about it. I don't know if it's something that puts it more together. I'm going to
Right.
listen to it because, everybody knows how I feel about Chuck Avery, and I don't care what anybody says, he's involved. So,
Right.
and
I agree.
I'm not saying Bobby isn't. I'm saying there's a few people involved, not this massive everything, but that doesn't matter right now.
Right.
Thank you for you know, coming on, everybody. Thanks for the chat being cool and helpful. That's always nice.
Yep.
If you all of my team on here, you want to stay on, like I said, if once I shut down my live, the chat goes away and we can't see it until tomorrow. So if you'd like to stay on, we can still look at it.
Okay.
Hopefully nobody has too much horrible things to say about us doing this interview. But again, I think that
I
for
don't think
me,
there was no harm in what you said.
well, I think it was really, really great to meet him. And we are
Right.
working for Steven, and we're not against Zellner. I get to have my opinions, you know?
We are
I mean,
all entitled to it.
right. And we, yes, of course, you know, just like with Steven, he also trusted his lawyers before. I'm not saying he shouldn't trust Zellner, just saying a man's life in a cage is at stake. So, yep, I want everything to get
Yep.
moving too for him.
And
So.
just for the record,
Yeah.
Tom did ask the investigator if he was allowed to speak
Yep.
on this, and
Yep.
the investigator did say yes.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, because every single thing that Tom Sowinski is saying is checking off. The man has records. You know, he's got the record, I think, now calling MTSO, you know, he's a smart man. He was going to school to be a paralegal. So he's not a dumb man. You know, he's a smart, successful guy that, knows his shit, and he's not making up stories, and you know.
No, he's not.
So thanks again, everybody. And
Yeah.
we had another video plan that we might be doing soon, but you know, who knows? Let's just take it day by day, okay?
Yep.
Yep,
Free
thanks, guys.
Stephen Avery, right? Free
Yep.
Brendan
Yeah.
Dassey.
And Brendan Dassey.
Let's get him
Definitely.
out. All right, you guys. Good night.
Good night,
Night.
Kim. Good night,
Night.
Sharon. Good night.